I guess his sister gives him a popcorn hand job, and he comes into popcorn. And the movie just moves on because he's embarrassed, I suppose. Then the biker gang is back. He gets arrested for using future counterfeit money. The fat cops just let him get away, and then he gets fucked by dogs.
All right, yeah, that's
what do you think about that?
The matter-of-fact way that you're recapping it is, you know what? I'm on board again. The energy is slowly returning.
I mean, if we're gonna get through this movie, I think we gotta pick up the pace a little bit. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is episode 2 of the International Pork Board Film Review. And Charles, how did you enjoy watching Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser?
I don't know, man. Honestly, it made me question about halfway through what point movies even had.
It didn't make you question everything right from the beginning of the film?
No, I don't know that movies are an effective medium to get any point across at this point. I just found myself wondering, why did they make it? And not like why, like as like a laugh or whatever, because you could do that and it doesn't have to be an hour and 47 minutes long. Like it was like he was trying to torture us or something like that.
It felt like the universe was punishing me for doing something wrong the entire time I watched this movie. There was a time when I first saw that this movie was being released that I was excited for Joe Dirt 2. And, now that it's 6 years later, I have been disabused of that notion after actually seeing it. God damn, what fucking awful piece of shit.
I'm sorry, Garrett. I was excited to do this podcast, too. I was like, oh, it's going to be so fun. We'll watch, like, a movie that is the sequel to a movie that we both, liked or whatever.
Because Joe Dirt was a great movie, which we've both seen dozens of times. And this is one of the things that we do, is that we do competitive Joe Dirt trivia at each other. Because we've seen it so many times that we could probably just quote the entire movie if we really tried at each other. A misspent life, perhaps. But,
maybe that's what this is for. It's to punish us for having seen Joe Dirt 1 so many times. I don't know. I don't know what I'm here. I'm gonna do this thing, but man, this is. I didn't realize how much energy it would take to finish it.
I had kind of forgotten that bad action movies are way more fun than bad comedies, because this was just like a comedy that wasn't funny. David Spade was not at his best. Whoever wrote it was not at their best.
I would be surprised if any scene took more than one take. There was a line where Clem, he's talking, and he's doing his whole Clem thing, because it's Christopher Walken, and he knows what he's doing, because he's an actor and stuff, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm being vague here, but he does his line, and then he laughs, and then he realizes that he's oh, that wasn't a good enough laugh, and he says, and then he goes, I'm Clem. It's a Clem laugh. And he done it way harder the second time. And I was like, that was the most energy anybody put into that film. And they just left it in. And I get they're doing a lot of fourth wall breaking or whatever, but it doesn't seem like it was intentional as much as it seemed like it was just lazy. And it was. It was so lazy.
It felt like they were trying to pad the movie out for time. And they didn't need to do that because it was far too long. And there were a lot of moments that didn't need to be in the film at all. And, this is going to be a note to the audience that we, in fact, watched, I believe both of us watched Joe Dirt 2, Beautiful Loser, the extended cut, correct?
Very likely, yeah, very likely. I don't know. I didn't pay $13 for it on Amazon because I thought that was absurd, and I ended up finding it on YouTube TV.
Oh,
Not to brag that I have YouTube TV money, but I do.
You
so.
are obviously a much more crafty man than I, because I just bought the $13 movie.
That's what they say. They say it's expensive to be poor.
Yeah.
That's why you need YouTube.
I could have spent that money on the sandwich or something, which really would have made me way happier than seeing one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Yeah. So I don't think this is going to be the longest episode because my heart is not in it. Do you just want to get through it from?
Yeah, I copied. I think I wrote down some of the jokes that I actually liked at the very beginning when I had hope for like it being something.
Yeah.
I really liked Xander's joke when he called that guy John C. minus Riley. I thought that was funny. That was Dennis Miller put more. He put it absurd. He put more effort into his performance than anybody, I think.
Yeah, I noticed. This was the quote that I took from it because I didn't want to write down lines, so that was too easy. And if you hear me chewing, it's because I am eating at the moment, because that's how much I love the podcast and the audience. He says, "Are those deciduous teeth?" Which he just loves throwing out like little references to other types of things, and it's clear that he wrote all of these lines because he makes a lot of references to like a lot of stuff in the 50s and the 60s, and Dennis Miller still not great. He was much funnier in the first movie, if he was even funny. I don't really know, but it was good seeing him again. I guess he's still alive. Has he been in anything? Because like the last thing I heard about him was he was doing a tour with Bill O'Reilly, and I hope that's going well for him.
Yeah, I think he got really into American conservatism.
Yeah,
which I have to distinguish from regular conservatism because it is now. It seems like. I don't know. At first I thought, it would be funny if I did a bit or I pretended to overinterpret the movie as like having some
it is
perverse sexual ideology or something. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right. You were going to do your Slavoid bit.
I was going to do my Zizek bit, yeah.
It was. It's a meta commentary on how we've run out of ideas as a culture because for some reason Joe Dirt 2, which is a sequel to Joe Dirt. It was Castaway. It was It's a Wonderful Life. It was The Wizard of Oz. It was The Sopranos.
Forrest Gump.
It was Forrest Gump from the very beginning. You're right.
Yeah.
And he just meets Leonard Skinner at some point. For some reason, it's a time traveling movie. Really, all over the place. It felt like this was written to be like some kind of time travel movie, and then they just also made it a Joe Dirt 2 sequel after the fact.
Maybe.
I can't explain it otherwise because there was no reason to do this. This was an awful choice for them to do. So yeah, the movie starts out, okay, it's Joe Dirt. He looks like he's down on his luck. He's sitting on a bench. It's Forrest Gump.
No. Sorry. The movie starts out with Dennis Miller playing that one guy.
Because I just didn't enjoy that part at all.
Well, so this is the thing that's very strange about the intro to the movie and immediately confuses its audience, is it starts with two guys talking who I don't know if we're supposed to know who they are, but it seems like we might be supposed to know who they are.
They were featured quite heavily in the movie.
Yeah.
And each time I saw them, I was not happy about it.
It had the cadence of a callback every time they appeared, and I was like, I don't know these two people. And then Dennis Miller says, I'm going to tell you the story of the Joe Dirt where it starts again, because it starts where he's born, but then it doesn't at all. And they go into Joe Dirt sitting on a bench, then recapping his story to another person. They go in two levels where they have two narratives going on simultaneously.
Way too layered of a film. Like, they could have just done a pretty linear thing, you know, made it basically the same movie. But, you know, it was like Synecdoche, New York, where it's, you know, just plays within plays within plays for Joe Dirt. And, you know, at that point, I had like, kind of given up on, you know, keeping track of every line in the movie. And it made it hard to follow. I don't think it added anything. It didn't make it seem like a more complex movie or a more movie with, not a movie with depth. But it's what they went with, and it was a choice. I'll give them that.
Yeah, okay, and this is like the meta-narrative overtures. That's what I'm going to call them, because I don't know what else to call them. But yeah. the narrative that Dennis Miller has, which leads into the Joe Dirt, like, narrative, which then gets back to, like, okay, I'm going to spoil it for everybody. It was a dream the whole time, of course it was. He like spends a lot of time dreaming that he went back in time, but he actually didn't. Some like whole lesson that he had to learn was that he was good enough for his family. But the problem is that
that was never in question, seemingly. That was the problem.
Yeah, well, I could see like that was like they were trying to make that point pretty obvious that like in real life he would never achieve any amount of success romantically or something like that. I think that's like always been the Joe Dirt bit. Is that he's like,
yeah, that Brandy is way too good for him now.
Yeah, and I guess they played into that pretty hard by like, you know, having him question. He got farted in his face for a long time in front of his daughters, and that was like the thing that made him really start to question whether or not he was good enough for Brandy.
Yeah, they brought back that theme of him being like a factotum type guy where he just switches from job to job to job. And yeah, he's a lumberjack. The guys are farting in his face, and then a hot girl comes by, and she also farts in his face.
That's very, very funny.
Which you weren't expecting because she's a lady. And there's almost the exact same kind of moment happened in the Scorpion King 4. as we've seen before, where a lady burps, and it's very funny because that's not supposed to happen. So it might have been the same writer. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, the joke. If the joke. Gary, if the joke works, the joke works. Okay, don't question it. Okay, the fact that it appears in two movies actually makes it more endearing, rather than the other way around. I think you're trying to make the point that that's really not funny.
Yeah, it's really an homage to a much better film.
Scorpion King 4?
Yes. Which I assume came out first, because I think that was 2015. And,
yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I miss those days when I was watching bad action comedies rather than just bad comedies. Those were great.
Yeah. But it doesn't, I mean, I don't even want to get into, like, why it didn't make sense, but Dennis Miller's character is like a real person, we assume, right? He's not like an angel or like a ghost or something like that, or a figment of his imagination.
Type guy, like, he has like a huge audience across the entire nation in the first
movie. So how did he read
on the radio anymore? Like, he's just a guy sitting in a lawn chair with like two drunk guys in the South. In some kind of liminal space where he's more of a ghost or a narrator than a person. I don't know what to do with that.
It would make sense if, like, I mean, it doesn't make any sense because he couldn't know what Joe Dirt was dreaming about. It didn't really, like...
It seemed like they had lost contact and were no longer friends.
Well, that's true as well. But I mean, like, it was just a dream. The events didn't actually happen, except that you find out at the end, maybe they did, because those comic books were buried there or something like that. I don't really remember.
Yeah, again, it's a time-traveling movie where he goes back to 1965 initially, and, I guess, okay, if Joe Dirt 1 is timeline 1, this is timeline 2. which somehow incorporates Joe Dirt 1, but also just adds some other stuff. If you believe in the lore of Joe Dirt, it's kind of lore breaking, and that bothers me a little bit. So okay, I can't remember. Have you seen The Sopranos before? Because the movie, I guess, takes place in Alabama. They play Sweet Home Alabama. This is one of my favorite parts of the movie, where they show the Auto Trader logo, because I guess they got some funding from Auto Trader. I like to see a little product placement, when I can. And the Sopranos opening?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They play it famously by the Alabama 3, because they're really, really going for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, so yeah. Really setting the scene of being in the South for everybody. So him and Brandy get married, and did you see what was written on the card that says Joe Penis? I really enjoyed that part too.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, you really missed a good one.
I missed it.
It said Joe Penis.
I did like the guy who was throwing rice at Joe Dirt too hard. I don't know why. I guess I appreciated that he tried to do something. Yeah. I don't know. I thought that was funny enough.
It was a movie that I enjoyed, yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty silly.
I'd say my favorite part of the movie is when UPS dropped off a package and delivered a shirt that I've been waiting on. And it's, like DARE, like the anti-drug program. We bought DARE shirts that says, instead of say no to drugs, it says say ho to thugs. And I like that.
This is something that happened while the movie was on.
Yeah,
not something that was in the movie.
It did not happen within the movie. It happened.
But you would describe it as your favorite part of the movie? Is that correct?
My favorite part of the movie.
Yeah, my favorite part of the movie was getting nachos before the movie started.
Mm-hmm. I guess my favorite part near the ending is when I went to McDonald's to get chicken McNuggets. Because it was technically before the credits ended, so I think that counts.
Yeah, that's okay. They did play at the end of the movie. I mean, I'm all over the place. I did have one joke that I also think was kind of funny.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, like, it's not that funny. It's just it was enough that I was like, I was at least somewhat, I don't know, whatever, interest was piqued. Was when his balls are too long or something. And they get stuck in the toilet on the plane, and then he flushes them. I don't know why that was funny, but the fact that he did it once and then screamed really loud, I don't know. I just thought that was okay.
And that
was an okay, funny joke.
It happened to him maybe a dozen more times.
Then they milked it as hard as humanly possible until it wasn't funny anymore, and until it made the scene go on for way too long.
Yep. Much like the fart scene, which I think lasted like 5 entire minutes, where he's just having man after man after man fart into space. And they mentioned that it happened like 22 times, and it was far too many for my liking. One of the like genuine moments like from the movie that I actually liked is when they're doing Castaway, and he's trying to throw away his message in the bottle, and he's trying to throw it really far. So he just like holds on too long and just spikes it into the ground. I really like that part.
Yeah, I didn't think anything about that part.
Yeah, that one really tickled me. Not much in the movie did, if I'm going to be frank.
Yeah, I mean, what was very like, I don't know. At this point, it was like really hard to watch. Was I didn't like. So, like, they're obviously trying to make Joe Dirt, he's, like, a really dumb guy. That's, like, their whole bit, is that he's really stupid.
Yep.
And he keeps telling jokes, and sometimes people laugh at them, and sometimes people don't laugh at them. And I don't know if he's trying to construct a universe in which he is funny or not, because he's not funny. Like, he's not writing jokes that are making me laugh, not even close.
No.
But sometimes he does get a laugh out of them, and I'm like, okay, but in his own world, is he funny? I don't even know. I mean, it's just like nothing about that movie was clear.
Like if you recall the nicknaming scene when he joins the biker gang and becomes its leader by killing the previous gang leader on accident.
Yeah.
I believe that was a 10-minute segment of him giving bikers that you do not see their faces nicknames.
Right. And they laugh sometimes. They laugh at some of the nicknames that he's given.
Every single one of them, they get to laugh. And
right. And then later on in the movie, those very same bikers do not give it up at all. They don't laugh at a single thing he says.
They chase him like the hounds of hell
right.
for the rest of his life. He's a cursed man in their eyes. And I don't think that really brought anything. I guess that was, maybe it moved the plot forward in some way, if you could call it that.
Sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to try to really get through as much of this as I can, because, all right, him and Brandy got married. They had, she gets pregnant.
Don't waste your audience's time with a recap of the plot, Garrett.
But I took notes. I took extensive notes.
I just think that's such a disservice. If anybody is listening, it's such a disservice to them to do that.
Okay, so the doctor, she has a cigarette in her mouth because that's very funny and Southern, and she blows smoke in Brandy's pussy. What did you think about that moment?
I don't have anything to say about it.
It was there, and moving on to the next part. Oh, yeah, for some reason she was lesbians with the nurse. That's a call forward to when she's lesbians with Brandy in the second timeline. And they didn't shell out for Kid Rock this time. They just got some other guy who, like...
No, the lead singer of Sugar Ray. Well, I don't know. I thought it was a better get, I thought. I mean, it was at least a lateral move, yeah.
Kind of looked like Ray Liotta but young. Okay, because they called him worse than Robbie, and I assumed it was just an actor.
No. He was the lead singer of Sugar Ray. I think I don't know. Yeah, they needed Robbie's character to come back, and he wouldn't. But it could just be because Kid Rock, I don't know, has fallen out of favor with the Adam Sandler gang. I have no idea what's going on with them.
I would find that hard to believe. Like, he was going to run for senator at one point, which would have been amazing.
Well, then maybe that was his mistake as he waded into politics, and they didn't appreciate that. They're pretty apolitical, the Sandler gang, it seems.
I think they're mostly, just conservatives, including Adam Sandler himself.
I don't know. I don't want to speculate.
I mean, that was my impression, because I thought it was like that entire cast of SNL from, the 90s were just all, weirdly conservative comedians.
John Lovitz is the only one I know who is definitely conservative. I think that's it, though, right? Who else is openly conservative? Oh, yeah, that's right. But he was also,
For some reason, Chris Farley would, do press conferences with Newt Gingrich, which is just weird to think about. I guess fat solidarity between them, if nothing else. All right, so we got through a lot. Okay, they do The Wizard of Oz. This really pissed me off. I didn't like this at all. There's a tornado. Joe's trailer gets lifted up like it's a house, and it kills the gang leader, whose boots he takes, because those are the ruby slippers from the movie. And if you kill the gang leader, you become him. God, just dynamite fucking material. And again, it's a time travel movie. He meets Buffalo Bob from the first movie. That's a callback.
Right. Oh, sorry. One thing you skipped over. Sorry. There was a storm coming, and he was with his daughters, and they were going to a basement that was not on their property, I guess. And he had to drive back to his trailer to get something that, she wanted, her tiara or something like that during the storm. Mm-hmm. And when he got in his car and they had the scene of him driving back, they did play a really sick synth riff that I really liked.
Oh.
So that was something.
Oh, that's very nice. I'm so glad.
Yeah, just if we're talking, now if we're getting technical here, we're getting to the deep. They did have balloons at the beginning of the movie when they found out Brandy is pregnant, and they're doing that whole pregnancy montage, where the funny part is that Joe is the one who can't handle it and gets morning sickness, not Brandy. very funny. It's very good.
It was. I do remember that joke, and I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think it worth repeating, but it's that way.
Yeah. Well, so there is a scene where they have.
Let's focus on what's good. All right. I thought Brittany Daniel in the early part of the movie. I thought she had a charming performance. I want to say that. It was good to see something nice. Because everything else going on in the movie was quite awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, her performance was okay. Even at the end when she was like, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't have control of my life.
Yeah.
It was almost like
Brandy too. Seemed like she was really phoning it in when she was like alternate Brandy. And I'm glad that scene only lasted a few minutes.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say the opposite thing. I was going to say, well, it seemed like she was trying to act, and it wasn't so bad.
Really?
But you said she was phoning it in. And you might be right, but I think compared to the performances around her, I don't think she was. I mean, I think it took a lot of courage to try a little bit. That's my opinion anyway.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she respected the work more than the rest of the crew. That might be the case. I don't know, man. I don't know. They did kind of like a walk hard thing. This is, again, returning back to the past where he just meets Leonard Skinner when they're young. And I don't know Leonard Skinner that well. I don't particularly enjoy their music, but I guess they died in a plane crash. That's referenced in the film several times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So explain this to me. All right. So when he goes back to the past, he meets Brandy, but it's not Brandy. It's Brandy's mom.
That's correct.
And they're doing, I guess it's
Back to the Future type bit.
Either Wizard of Oz or Back to the Future or It's a Wonderful Life or all three of them simultaneously.
Right.
And Brandy's mom, Ashleen, meets Jimmy's dad, Rory, who is her parents and also themselves.
Oh, he does the penis in the popcorn bit, yeah.
Yeah, they're at the movies, they're at the drive-in, and he buys some popcorn, and he puts his dick in it, which is a great move, because he wants to get a little handy. And, but, like,
his parents come.
His girlfriend, like, runs away, and his parents and, I guess, sister come by and, like, try to get the popcorn, and they do. And, I guess his sister gives him a popcorn hand job, and he comes in the popcorn. And, the movie just moves on because he's embarrassed, I suppose. Then the biker gang is back. He gets arrested for using future counterfeit money. The fat cops just let him get away, and then he gets fucked by dogs.
All right, yeah, that's
what do you think about that?
The matter-of-fact way that you're recapping it is, you know what? I'm on board again. The energy is slowly returning.
I mean, if we're gonna get through this movie, I think we gotta pick up the pace a little bit. Yeah,
okay. Keep it. No, I'm here. Let's do it. That's
right. So he's back on a train. I think there were trains in the first movie. He starts beating off at the train, and then he's about to get raped by hobos. But that was just a dream. And then he meets Kickin' Wing from the first movie, but now he's kicking ass, and he's a drug dealer.
Right.
And that scene is way too long.
It is way too long, and it's the exact same joke as the first movie, except instead of selling hard drugs.
Instead of fireworks, now it's hard drugs, and he just gives them a bunch of different names. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, instead of hard drugs, he's selling marijuana and aspirin, because those are the ones he likes, similar to snakes and sparklers, because those are the ones that he likes.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was disappointing, because when Joe Dirt was recapping all the drugs, or he was going through all the drugs that he could be selling, he was coming up with, novel names for them that we haven't all heard. The exact same bit that he did in Joe Dirt 1 with fireworks. He goes, deuce or do's, and then he stops himself from saying deuce or don't. His best line and his best joke from the first movie, he's like, I'm too good for this. I don't need to recall every single thing. But he already did the exact same bit, almost the exact same scene, in the exact same way as the first movie. He just wouldn't deliver the only good line it was just disappointing. I mean, every choice he made, I would have made a different choice. God. Sorry, continue.
I really don't know whether to like fault David Spade's performance or just the writer, because as far as I know, David Spade might have written the movie. I'm not going to look it up once again. Vander Kelly's back in the middle of the movie. They do like, Deadpool style, like fourth wall breaking. It's a, meta commentary within a movie, within a dream, within a different movie.
Right.
Then I don't know why, and I'm not going to look it up. There's a time skip, 12 years. He wakes up on a beach. His kidney gets taken. They're doing Castaway. Message in a bottle. He tries to throw a fart. He spiked it in the ground. He eats a jellyfish. You're not supposed to eat jellyfish. It's probably poisonous. He fucks a seashell, and I believe he fucks the football also. Is that correct?
He may have fucked the football. I think so. That the one thing that you're missing is that he did take a shit like behind the brush, and then explained to everybody who may have been concerned that he did cover some of the shit with some sand. Not all the way though. So anyway, continue.
Yeah, it seemed like he was kind of doing like Seinfeld-style stand-up in the middle of the desert, which he claims to be an island, but he climbs a cliff because he gets a message in a bottle back that's from the Marriott Hotel that somehow like a woman had picked up and responded to in kind, and tells her to meet him in apartment like in the hotel room, 314 or something like that. So he climbs a cliff and bam, 1977 Miami. Christopher Walken's back because he's in the mafia. He meets Christopher Walken, and he uses his knowledge from the future to like win gambling on Daytona, NASCAR, and football and other stuff. For some reason, he wakes up in the hospital, getting told that he had a Roman candle in his ass for the previous night.
Oh, because his liver had gotten stolen. That's how he ended up in Miami on the beach.
It wasn't merely his kidney; also his liver and other organs were taken out of him.
Right. But that happened way earlier, and I guess this is the first time he's drinking alcohol, so he like gets way too drunk and gets kicked in the balls really, really hard.
Well, punched, I believe. Oh,
that's right. It was punched. That's right.
Let's not disrespect the film.
Sorry.
So yeah, he has the balls are in his stomach because they got punched too hard. And for some reason, they had to wake him up to explain it instead of just pulling him out, because it's funnier that way because he's in pain and you can see it on his face. He has to take a flight for some reason, like Charles mentioned before. He flushes his nuts down the toilet of the plane. Reminiscent of the dog's testicles being stuck to the porch from the first movie. There's a lot of cock and ball torture in this movie, and does that appeal to you?
Hold on, there's not that much cock and ball torture. I feel
like there's a decent amount of cock and ball torture in the film.
I don't know if I agree with that, actually. I think there's just the right amount, in fact, especially compared to the other avenues of comedy he's pursuing. One is the fart. He's doing way too much farting, I think, in that movie. Like you said, they did it was about 5 minutes of just dudes farting in his face, and also a girl who farted in his face. Yeah. And it wasn't even the last time that somebody made a joke farting in his face.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't even close to the last time, probably.
I've gotta be honest. My heart wasn't in it the entire time. It was a bit of a half-assed viewing, and you might have seen a few more than I have because I only remember it from the first part.
Okay. Never mind then. I don't want to stand by this because actually I'm drawing a blank at specific scenes where somebody farted in his face, but I'm sure it happened. I shouldn't doubt you. I think you're right. I believe you. Okay, thanks.
Now he's back in Joe Dirt 1, but it's not Joe Dirt 1 because Jimmy steals his thunder with Brandy by freeing her dog's balls from the porch. Then it's a Wonder Life, and Patrick Warburton, who was previously the vice president of the gang, is now just a ghost in a suit who follows him around and shows him what the world would be like without him in Silvertown. And apparently Silvertown is a real piece of shit without him because it's Jimmytown.
That's right. This is definitely Back to the Future Part 2 at this point. This is not.
It's a Wonderful Life because it's Potterville, it's Jimmytown.
Yeah, you're right. God, I didn't realize how similar those two movies were, but you're right.
See, I don't know Back to the Future 2 that well. Maybe Maybe I need to give that one a shot.
Oh, Biff. So Biff in Back to the Future 2, basically he steals the almanac so that he can start betting on sports and something like that. Mm-hmm. And he becomes like a sort of mafioso kingpin.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty. He controls everything, and the entire town is shitty because he controls everything.
What a shame. He used his power for evil. Is that what you're telling me?
Biff did, yeah, and it looks like, I mean, you're right, Potter did too in It's a Wonderful Life, and Cal, I want to say, no, Jimmy did in Joe Dirt too. All equally great films, in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, I originally conceived of this thing as a way to force myself to watch good movies, and I'm 0 for 2 on that one so far.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's get through this dog shit. We're back in the timeline. They're in Jimmy's house, and him and Brandy are married. And the doctor character from before is now just one of Brandy's drug friends, because Brandy is a rock star's like trophy wife who does drugs, and she's a bit of a lesbian apparently also. I guess, yeah, the movie ends with Joe learning his lesson that he didn't have to impress her with money. That's a good lesson, I suppose, folks. The family is more than money. Look at it. It's good.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to bring it back around. This is some classic Dennis Miller bullshit, I think, because he's a conservative elite. And of course, the entire movie is him telling the story of Joe Dirt to these like absolute, bottom barrel hillbillies. And the whole point, the whole message of the story is that you don't need money. And I think this is actually a plot basically to convince conservatives to not pass, I think, reasonable social welfare programs, in my opinion.
Because what they're saying is, you don't need money. I deserve my money. You don't deserve anything. You should be happy with whatever you have.
Exactly.
Which is not money.
Yep. And if somebody famous comes along, they are entitled to bang your wife. And there's not anything you should do about it or say about it. That's not how the world should work.
No. And you get cuffed. And that's what conservatives like. They love it.
I think we did it, Garrett. I don't think we have to talk about this ever again.
I think we solved the mystery of the film.
Yeah. And we did. We did.
I don't really think there's much thematic work or like archetypes we need to explore. Anything you want to plug? Your book?
No.
Wise choice.
I don't know why you gave that so much breath. You really waited on that one. Like I was not adding anything. I don't want to
pregnant pause. It's one of my moves in the podcast.
I don't know that this. If the next time that we do this, Garrett, we're just gonna have to choose a shorter thing because it really 5 minutes 50. I was like, I am in a worse mood.
I was really hoping
for an
80-minute movie, and that was not what we got.
Yeah, it went on for another, long time.
I think this might have been longer than the Scorpion King 4.
Yeah.
Let's check out that runtime, because I don't want to lie to the little pigs who listen to this show.
Get your fact checkers on it. Get your producers to look it up.
They're both an hour 45. Joe Dirt is hour 47, so I was correct that it was in fact longer.
Yeah. Well, they couldn't cut anything, Garrett. They needed to have. Yeah, I mean, you remember that scene where Joe Dirt's like, I got to get to Spokane, and then they have, I don't know, about 5 to 10 seconds of a taxi pulling into the airport and him getting out of it and running into the airport?
I don't, because I was trying to suppress a lot of memories of the movie. I do remember when, like, you know, his nuts were flushed in the toilet, so they just, like, cut the toilet out and then bring him, like, on a platform, whatever those are called, kind of a cherry picker style thing. They just bring
called cherry pickers.
Yeah, over, you know, exposed to the world in his time of grief, such as he was. And, you know, what movie do you want to do next time?
I'll do the first episode of How I Met Your Father.
Okay.
I'm expecting that to be a very tight 22 minutes, and I think I can get through that easy, no problem.
I think you're going to be exactly correct on that, and that's going to be a much easier viewing experience for probably an equally funny project. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to say, and this is just, I don't even know why I'm going to pile on here, but I am. When they find out Brandy is pregnant, they have some balloons that say it's a girl, right?
They do.
So presumably Brandy's gotten like an ultrasound.
Yeah.
And somehow they don't find out that she's pregnant with triplets until she's giving birth and they're looking in her like dilated cervix. Yeah. I'm sorry, but there's no like, there's not a window into the rest of the that's what the ultrasound was for. You should have known that already. I mean, it was just silly. It was a silly, I think that was absolutely absurd.
I learned recently that they can do like blood tests way earlier than they could before with ultrasound. That'll tell you like the sex of the baby. So conceivably they could have just done a blood test and not the ultrasound, because if it's 3 triplets, all of whom are girls, I think it's just going to show up as a girl on the blood test without showing you, you know, how many of them there are. So I think the science, it could have happened that way.
Darren, I hate that is tight. I don't like that at all. I was thinking about this the entire movie. I was like, those idiots, can't believe they didn't think of it. But you're right. And I don't like that you defended it, but
it is very irresponsible of this doctor to not realize she's about to be giving that she's not going to be delivering 3 triplets instead of 1 baby, and her life is be cold.
Yeah.
If you ask my opinion on the subject.
Okay. Yeah. I was willing to be way less forgiving when they do the ultrasound. It's like you would see 3 like heartbeats or whatever. I don't know when you do the ultrasound. And I assume they must have done the ultrasound, but you're right. It's possible that they didn't.
We believe in science here at the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we dissect not only pigs, but also films. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts, or should we call it there? You've been a real trooper, Charles. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, that's no problem here.
I can't believe you've subjected yourself to this.
I mean, I don't know. It's the first time, so I was willing to like grit through it, I guess. But I think in the future, if we get something like this that does turn out to be as obviously bad as this turned out to be, we can just call each other like 40 minutes in and say, let's do something else. We
actually could have just pretended like we watched the rest of the movie.
Yeah, we could have.
Done, yeah. They like when we watched Keanu and just walked out, 20 minutes into the movie.
Apparently Keanu had an okay ending, is what people have said.
I don't believe them.
Somebody said that they actually had to go to jail for all their shenanigans by the end of the movie, and that was like, I don't know, a novel realism introduced to that like type of buddy comedy movie. And I mean, I don't know if I'm not going to watch it or anything, but somebody did say that it was okay, it was different or whatever.
It's good to see, criminals get their comeuppance. I don't know. I don't know the movie that well.
Well, I called them shenanigans because I don't think they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think.
If they got convicted, I guess they did a crime. I don't know.
I don't know. You're right though. But okay, you're right. Next time I think we cut our losses and we spend time with our families and loved ones.
And just pretend like we watched the movie. and we've set that aside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we learned a lesson here on the podcast now, didn't we?
I guess so.
We sure did. Folks, don't watch the movie.